another video. So today is going to be the second installment to my college advice series. Today we're going to be talking about living on campus. I can't really give you guys a lot of tips about living on campus because it is something that you experience for yourself, but I can give you some pros and some cons. So let's get right into this video. So the backstory about living on campus is that most campuses make it very mandatory for their first year students to stay on campus and live in on-campus housing. Some campuses actually make it a requirement that you stay on for your first 2 years, so it just depends on what school that you're going to. At first, I was initially excited to really be living on campus because it was something that I've never experienced before. I've always just lived in my own house, in my own room, and had my own stuff. So the fact that I was going to be living on campus, living at school, and living with other people was something that I was really eager about. But towards the end of the semesters that I lived on campus, I was just really over it. I could not wait to get out, and I honestly overall didn't really like it. So with that, we're going to start off with the pros about living on campus. The first pro is that when you live on campus, everything on campus is close in proximity to your dorm. So if you want to go to a library or go get something to eat or just go anywhere on campus, being on campus makes it so much easier for you to commute to the different amenities that the campus has to offer. So that means that you can walk or you can take the shuttle bus to anywhere on campus, and that's a very good feature that you can use while you're on campus. The second pro is that it's easier to make friends when you live on campus. You get to know your roommates, you get to know people that are living in the same residence hall as you get to know your RAs, and sometimes you might be walking to class and you might stumble across somebody and you get to meet them. So living on campus and being immersed in the college life and the on-campus life makes it so much easier for you to make connections and communicate with people and then make friends. Also with that, all organizations that are on campus usually have like their little meetings or their events somewhere on campus. So then when you want to get involved, everything is right on campus. So I joined the African People's Association, and I remember their first meeting was on the 3rd floor of my building, and I stayed on the 1st floor. So all I had to do was take the elevator up 2 floors to go to the meeting, and at that meeting I was able to meet a lot of other people. It makes it a lot easier for you to make friends and make connections when you stay on campus. The third pro is that you gain the experience of living on campus and meeting a stranger. So like I said, you're kind of thrown and immersed into just meeting random people. You come across a whole bunch of different people every day. A campus has thousands of people that you don't know. So when you live on campus, it just makes it a lot easier for you to grow with these connections, and also it's an experience. I never had to sit there and try and work my schedule around someone else, especially when it comes to sleeping in the same room with another person. You know, it's definitely a big learning experience, and I think it's a worthwhile experience, something that you don't get unless you go to college and you live there and you go through it. So moving on, living on campus also has some cons that go along with it. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. There's a lot of things that I did not like about living on campus, which prompted me to move off of campus starting this next semester, and I got my own apartment, but it's definitely just some things to keep in mind. So con number one, which is my number one reason why I moved off of campus, is that living in the dorms can be very expensive. So like I said, I moved into a suite where there was 6 girls total, 1 living room, there was 1 bathroom, so it was 1 shower, 2 sinks, and 1 toilet. And you would think for that, having to share with all those people, maybe I'd be paying no more than $300 a month. But when I did the math and I broke everything down, I was paying almost $1,000 a month just to live in that. So that is a huge chunk of your tuition, and I just feel like that is so unnecessary. I can get something better than that living off campus, which is why I moved off campus, and for that price I didn't think it was worth it. I was basically staying in a 2x2. For what they give you, I just feel like it wasn't worth the price, and that is going to differ between campus to campus, but at my campus I just felt like it was way too much money for what I was staying in, and I just had to move off campus. Con number 2 is that the meal plan is very expensive, and it gets very nasty and very redundant. You know, when I first came there, I had something at the dining hall when I first moved in. It was like my first day, and I'm thinking this is such an upgrade from high school, which it is, because you know you're paying a lot more money, so it better be better than high school. But after a while they start serving the same entrees, and it's the same chicken patty, same steak, same whatever it may be, and they obviously have like their little special dinners of the day. For me, I just feel like I didn't even like it that much. The dumb thing about the meal plan is that you pay for it all at once, and then you have your swipes, and you're given a certain amount of swipes and dining dollars to use throughout the entire semester, and you get a certain amount of swipes a week, and I wasn't even using half of my swipes, so it was just money going to waste, and I didn't even like the food. I would only eat there maybe once or twice a week. That's on a good week. Sometimes I did not eat there at all, and I'll just, you know, eat my Ritz crackers and my Gushers or something, but you know, it's just really expensive and the food just gets really redundant and very nasty. You never really use up all your swipes unless you're sharing with another person. There's always going to be those upperclassmen guys who are no longer on the meal plan because they moved off campus and they didn't get their EBT card ready for their little grocery shopping for the week, so they're gonna ask you, hey girl, can I get a swipe? So unless you're sharing with them, you're probably never gonna use up all of your swipes, and it just becomes a big waste of money. So with that, living on campus, they're gonna have some rules against, like, you know, food items and electronics. So you can't bring like crock pots, and you can't bring microwave ovens, and you can't bring toasters. So you can barely even eat what you usually eat, and then you're forced to eat the meal plan, and the meal plan is just so gross after a while. Like, I hate to say that because you're probably like, oh, I'm going to college and it's gonna be better. I mean, it's just something that's just there if you really want to eat it and you really have to eat it, because some people just don't have any choice. But the rules have a couple restrictions of the type of appliances that you can have in your dorm room, and you can't even use that, so it's almost like you're forced to eat the meal plan. Some residence halls do have kitchens. The residence hall that I stayed in did not have a kitchen, but some do, so you can definitely utilize that, where you can cook on a stove and bake in an oven and stuff like that, but not every single residence hall has that, and a lot of campuses don't have that. Con number 3 about living on campus is that you are restricted and you have to follow rules. So you think you're going to college and you're going to be free, but when you're living on campus in the dorms, it's almost like the hall director is your parent or your mom or your dad or something, and they have all these rules that you can't break, and I felt like a lot of rules were pretty strict. It's almost like we're paying all this money to live here, and I could barely even step 2 feet out the door without paying a fine and breaking a rule. You're subject to sharing a small space, like I said, basically like a 2x2, and then you have to follow rules, and it gets really annoying because it's like almost every little thing that you want to do, you can't do. So I've compiled a list of like the top 5 rules that I've heard from campuses. My campus doesn't have every rule that I listed, but a lot of campuses do. So here is a top 5 list of some of the rules that some of these residence halls make you follow. Rule number 1 is that the doors lock at 12 a.m. So of course the main door is always going to be open 24/7, but the little side door entrances and stuff like that, they're going to lock at 12 a.m. And I just feel like that's just it's so annoying when you're coming back from a party at like 2 or 3 a.m. and you just want to go to your room and you have to walk all the way around to the front of your building and you can't go in through your side door because it's locked. So then you either have to call somebody to come open it for you that stays around that area, or you just have to be going around to the front. And I just hated that rule. Like, it may not seem like a big deal now, but once you get on campus and you always try to go to like that little side door, it's gonna get so annoying, especially like late at night when you try to go to like another person's residence hall and you can't go in through that side door, so you have to go through the front and then you have to get signed in, and it's just such a waste of time. It takes so much time. So yeah, I really did not like that rule at all. The second rule is that you can only have 2 guests signed in at one time. This was just specific to my campus. The rule was just so annoying because I would understand if you could only have 2 guests after a certain time, but the fact that we could only have 2 guests per person, period, it was just so annoying to me, because sometimes when I wanted to have like a large gathering, as you guys probably saw in my college vlogs, I was always being lit in my dorm room and having all those dudes in there, and it just got annoying because every single time we would get in trouble for it because it's like a violation of the guest policy, and I just really didn't like that rule. The third rule is quiet hours. Now, some residence halls have 24/7 quiet hours, which I do not understand how that's even allowed, that you're supposed to be quiet 24/7. My dorm room didn't have that. We had hours from like maybe at 10 p.m. we're supposed to be quiet up until like 7 a.m. the next morning, something like that. But the whole quiet hours thing, I understand, like, it's supposed to be like so you can respect people as they're studying and sleeping, but the 24/7 quiet hours is a little bit too much, and a lot of residence halls have them, especially the ones where all the people that live in the dorm rooms are really close together. So on Toledo's campus, there is like this one residence hall. It's called Parks Tower. It's only for freshmen. It's like a large 16-floor tower, and all the rooms are really close, and they had 24/7 quiet hours, and it's just really annoying. The fourth rule is no opposite sex visitors after a certain time or period. So after a certain time, I could kind of get it because I guess they're trying to like limit down on students having sex and prevent girls and guys from getting sexually assaulted and all that type of stuff, when that could actually happen at any time of the day. But I understand what they're trying to do. But some residence halls have a rule where you cannot have any other opposite sex members in your room, and you have to meet with them outside. I didn't stay in a dorm room where it was like guys on this side and girls on this side, or it was just for girls or just for guys. But keep in mind, a lot of the HBCU campuses have those strict rules where it's a guy's dorm and a girl's dorm, and you guys cannot cross paths at any time of the day. So the last rule that I came up with is the random room checks. This honestly was not that much of a problem. You know, they have to check your room. It's part of like, you know, keeping your room clean and making sure that everything is sanitary and all of that. But I just hated the fact that a lot of them were random. They were too frequent to me. Sometimes it would be like twice a month, which I feel like that's so frequent, but it just got annoying. I almost felt like it was an invasion of privacy sometimes. My RA was cool, so he never overstepped his boundaries, but I've had hall directors come into my rooms looking for weed and all this stuff, and I don't even smoke. And I just felt like it was so annoying when they would do room checks. I understand that rules are rules and you have to follow them, but the room checks to me were just they were too much. So that is it for the pros and cons of living on campus. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions about living on campus, please leave it in the comment section below and I'll get back to you guys. Don't forget to add me on Snapchat. That's when I talk about all my hair and makeup and all my college related like little things. So definitely scan and add me on Snapchat right now. That is it for this video and I'll see you guys here tomorrow for my next video. Bye guys. So our first video is going to be all about roommates, classes, and dorms. So upon coming to college, like one of the first 3 things that people want to know about is who they're going to room with, what dorm they're going to stay in, and the classes that they're going to be taking.